Welcome to Yoga with a View, presented by O2 Aspen. Yoga, Pilates, fitness, boutique, and spa. Wellness elevated.
Good morning. My name is David Richardson with O2 Aspen. We're out here shooting Yoga with a View at Owl Mountain Ranch with Aspen 82. So let's get ready to flow. Bring your feet together to touch. Take a nice big inhale, reach your hands all the way up to the sky. Bring your fingers together to touch. And then as you exhale, just fold all the way down to the earth. Make a little bend in the knees. Let the chest and the head be a little bit heavier. Shake the head, yes. Twist the head, no. And then on your next inhale, halfway lift, bring your hands to your shins, lengthen the spine, straighten the legs. And then exhale, fold all the way back in. Big breath in, reach for the sky, hands together to touch. And go ahead and grab your right wrist with your left hand. And then you're gonna go ahead and take your right foot behind your left foot. So the feet start to get a little crossed, and take a moment, find balance, maybe even look down at your feet, a little bend in the knees. Big breath in, reach to the sky and really get long. And then as you exhale, arch over to your left. Just counterbalance the arms by sending your hips the opposite direction. Inhale, come back through center, pull your navel in. Exhale, arching to the left. Breath in, rising. And then exhale, we'll reach as far to the left as we can, finding a big side body stretch. Breathing space into each of this rib cage. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to rise. And then exhale, just bring your hands down by your side and uncross your feet. Inhale, reach right back up to the sky. Right hand's gonna grab the left wrist. Left foot comes behind the right foot. And again, maybe take a moment, look down at your feet, a little bend in the knees, find stability. Tailbone down, inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, arching your hands over to the right and sending your hips to the left. Breath in, come back to center. It's like a tree moving in the wind. Exhale, reaching over to the right, stretching through the left rib cage. Last time, inhale, rising. And then exhale, this time we'll sink in, we'll stay for a breath. Inhale, create space. Exhale, you pull the navel in to press the breath back out. Inhale, come back to center. Drop your hands, uncross your feet. Shake out your feet. Smile. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Inhale, reach all the way up. And then exhale to forward fold. And just sit your feet a little bit wider this time. Grab elbow to elbow and sway in ragdoll. As you start to take your elbows side to side, feel the weight go to your left edge of the foot and then the right edge of the foot. Noticing what's going on in the hamstrings. If they're tight, that little bend in the knees, it allows you to start to find a little bit more space. Now keep a hold of your elbows, and on your next inhale, you're gonna rise around to the right, taking the forearms up and overhead, so the inhale's like the sun rising. And then exhale, bringing the forearms, the shoulders down to the left like the sun setting. Twice more on your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Breath guides the movement. And we'll be right back down in our ragdoll. And just keeping things even. Use your next inhale, rise around to the left. Exhale. And just bringing some awareness to what's happening in the legs, what's happening in the side body, what's happening in the shoulders. And last, go around to the left. Bringing it all the way down to the earth. Release your elbows, plant your hands. Step back to high push-up position, plank pose. Plank pose, you're gonna start pressing your heels back behind you, so you're finding length in the legs and lifting up through the knees. Start to spin your biceps forward, start to recruit the muscles in the chest. Big breath in. Exhale, take your hips high, downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the practice this morning. Look toward your hands. Start to roll weight into that L shape between your thumb and index knuckle. Once the weight comes to the inside of the hand, spin the biceps forward. Take a little bend in the knees, lift the hips a little higher. Then start to press your chest back towards your thighs. Just starting to find a little bit more fluid Vinyasa type movement. As you inhale, come all the way out to plank. Lead with the back of the heart like a wave coming forward. Once you've reached the top of the inhale, exhale, take the hips up and back, downward facing dog. 2 or 3 more times on your breath. Inhale, lead with the back of the heart. Exhale, use your core to start to take your hips high. Find that connection, navel towards spine. One more round. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. And take a few breaths. Any little adjustments that feel good by pedaling the feet or dropping heels right or left. And then just bring it all back to center. And we're going to take our gaze forward. Big breath in. As you exhale, make your way to the top of the mat. You can take lots of tiny steps. You can step, you can hop, you can float. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach all the way up to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana. So we're finding a little bit more length by rooting through the feet. Then as you exhale, cactus your arms, lift the chest, find a little back bend. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to your plank pose. Big breath in, find length. Exhale, lower all the way down to the earth through Chaturanga Dandasana, through that low push-up position. Untuck your feet. Press into the tops of the feet so that you start to feel your knees lift, so that you engage quads, hamstrings, glutes. Big breath in, pull back on your hands, lift your chest, cobra pose. Exhale, melt it down to the earth, almost feeling like you're getting a little bit longer, like reaching the crown of the head forward. Inhale, rise, roll the shoulders down the back body, lift up through the heart. Exhale, bring it down. Last round, fullest expression. Inhale, rise. Squeeze the elbows, retract the shoulder blades, lift. Exhale, down to the earth. And just press to a tabletop position, hands and knees. Tuck your toes if they're not already tucked. And then lift your hips high, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So sun salutation A, a chance to find this connection of breath to movement, less thought, more movement. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, make your way to the top of the mat. Step, hop, float, handstand. Inhale to lift and lengthen, straighten the hamstrings, straighten the spine. Exhale, send everything down to the earth. Big breath in, reach for the sky. Let the sun shine on your face. Exhale, find that back bend. Scoop the heart up with the shoulder blades. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands. Option to either step back to plank or you could shoot back to your low push-up position. Move through your flow halfway down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog, or you can take that same cobra again. Roll over your toes, feel that belly lift up, downward facing dog. One more round. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, make your way top of the mat. Lift and lengthen, inhale. Exhale, fold. Find the sky. Open the heart. Rise. And root. Create the space in the hamstrings. Lift, lengthen. Plant the hands. Step back plank or shoot back. Low push-up. Find your back bend, shoulder blades down the back body, heart is lifting, crown of the head is lifting. Maybe take your chin up to the sky and then roll over your toes, engage your belly, hips rise back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Staying with fluid movement, take your right leg all the way up to the sky, three-legged dog. Now as you exhale, step all the way through towards your right thumb. It might take a couple steps. If you need to grab that foot and help it get forward, you can always just grab it with your hand and move it forward. Set your back foot at 45 degrees. And then look at your feet and take them a little bit wider. So it's almost like you're on train tracks instead of a tightrope. When you feel like you can press into the back foot, press into the front foot, rise up, warrior one. Now start to press into this back foot and start to drive your left hip forward. And then press into your front foot and start to pull your right hip back. Big breath in, reach for the sky. No change in the legs, just swim your hands behind you and interlace. You maybe notice which thumb's on top. Maybe it's the thumb that feels most comfortable, or maybe it's the thumb that feels most weird. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, reach your hands down towards the earth, lift your chest here, find a little bit more back bend again. Exhale, bow inside of your front knee. Humble warrior's pose. So no change in the legs. We're starting to find surrender by allowing the chest and the head to be heavy. And any kind of movement that feels good in your shoulders, rocking them side to side. Elbows can be bent or they can go towards straight. Big breath in. Exhale, bring your hands down to the earth inside of your front foot. Now you're going to walk your hands around to the left. We'll come into Skandasana, yogi side squat. I like to call it Spider-Man pose, and just sink deep into your left hip. Take a moment and breathe. And then we'll go the opposite side. So you bring your hips through center, bend into your right knee, straighten the left leg. Back toes can be lifted or they can be down, but this back leg should be super engaged. Then turn to face the front. Plant your hands. Step back plank, or you can lift the right foot up for three-legged plank. Exhale, low push-up. Inhale, back bend. Downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg to the sky. Exhale, step through with control, left foot towards your left thumb. Right foot 45 degrees. Feet again, find some width. When you find stability, inhale, rise up, warrior one. Same movement. You're going to press into the back foot to move the right hip forward this time, and then energetically start to pull your left hip back. So you find the squaring of the hips towards the front of the mat. Shoulders stacked over the hips. Big breath in, reach up. Exhale, swim the hands behind you, interlace. And maybe find that opposite thumb. So if it felt good the first time, maybe it feels funky the second time. If it felt funky the first time, maybe it feels good the second time. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, reach your hands towards the earth, lift through your chest, stretch through the front body. Exhale, surrender, fold left shoulder inside of your left knee. See if your gaze can start to go towards your back foot so that the back of the neck gets long. Big breath in. Release your hands down to the earth. And then let's walk our hands back towards the right. Bend into your right knee, straighten your left leg, Spider-Man pose. And then we'll go one more to the front. Take a moment and breathe. Turn to face the front, plant your hands, low lunge. Step back plank or three-legged plank. Move through your flow to the earth or halfway down. Upward facing dog or downward facing dog. And then lift the hips back and up. And as we move through this practice, anytime you want to add a push-up or leave a push-up behind, you can make your way to downward facing dog whenever you prefer. 2 more rounds. Inhale, we'll just get a little bit more fluid. Right leg to the sky. Exhale, step through. Inhale, warrior one, you rise. Use the exhale to find the movement in the shoulders. Reach behind you, interlace. Inhale, lift the chest, scoop the shoulder blades. Exhale, bow inside, humble warrior, surrender the head. Release the hands to the earth. We'll go 2 times each direction. Walk your hand back to the left, Skandasana. When you reach the top or the bottom of that breath, you just switch directions. Hands can stay down for balance, or maybe the hands find the heart, side to side. Just awareness of how your body moves in space, proprioception. Turn to face the front. Step back plank or three-legged plank. Take your low push-up or go straight back to downward facing dog. Whatever feels right in your practice. Where you have space, where you have flexibility, where you have strength. Left leg, inhale. Exhale, step through. Inhale to rise, Virabhadrasana 1. Swim the hands behind you, finding more space in the shoulders, interlace, change your grip. Big breath in, scoop the heart, lift the chest. Exhale, bow in. Bring the hands down to the earth. Twice each direction, moving back into that low side squat, Skandasana. Taking whatever variation makes sense in your hands. Maybe they start to fly out wide, going left to right, right to left. And next time towards the front. Taking your low lunge and rinsing out the sun salutation, however makes sense in your body. We'll all come home to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, step through. Inhale to rise. Exhale, flow and reach back. Roll the shoulders, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, surrender. Release the hands. This time we'll go 3 times each direction. Just continuing to find a little bit more fluid movement into the hips. A little bit more of that intentional connection of breath to movement. Once more to the back. Once more to the front. And then just turn, step back. High push-up, low push-up. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, step through. Inhale, rising. Exhale, flow the arms back, find space in your shoulders. Inhale, lift the chest, reach back through the hands. Exhale, fold in, left shoulder presses left knee away. Release hands down to the earth. Last time to flow, hip to hip. Bend into the right knee, straighten the left leg. And then moving back towards the front of the mat. Any variation in the arms, any variation in the back leg, toes up or toes down. Once more to the back. Once more to the front. Turn to face the front of the mat. Vinyasa flow. Plank, Chaturanga, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana. From your downward facing dog, walk to the top of the mat. Slowly just start to bend your knees, bring your seat all the way down to the floor. Come to a seated position. Take your feet straight in front of you. We've started to build some heat in the practice, started to create some space. Take a little bend in your knees. Inhale, reach your hands all the way up to the sky. Wrap your triceps forward, create space across the back body so you're protracting the shoulder blades. Big breath in, lift the chest. And exhale, start to fold, start to hinge at the hips, move as slowly as you can. Hands can find the shins, they can start to reach for the toes, they can find the outer edge of the feet. So as much as you're stretching the hamstrings here, you're also starting to find length through the lower lumbar spine. If you start to feel you have a little bit more space and you want to start to straighten the legs, starting to send the knees down towards the earth. Take a slight tuck of the chin so your gaze goes in towards your belly. Big breath in. Open mouth, exhale it out. 2 more clearing breaths. Breath in, create space across the chest. Exhale, send the chest down towards the legs. Breath in. Breath out. Now slowly walk your hands back up your legs. So you just come to seated. You're going to go ahead and take your left leg, bend it in. Start to take your left heel towards your right glute and then step your right foot over your left knee. Take your right fingertips behind you like a kickstand, and I'll lift your left hand to the sky. So start to feel that big side body stretch like we did at the beginning of the practice. You're lengthening through the left ribs. Start to twist towards the right, bring your left elbow over top of your right knee. Inhale, send your tailbone down, lift your chest, start to grow long in the spine. Exhale, squeeze the knee and the elbow together and start to rotate towards the right, maybe gaze behind you. Breath in, maybe back away from the twist and lengthen. Exhale, go a little deeper. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, come back through center. Bring your left fingertips down, uncross your right leg. Stick the left leg forward. Right heel comes in by your left glute. Step your left foot over top of your right knee. So we're just switching the pretzel of our legs. Bring your left fingertips down behind you. Inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. Start to arch into your right side body. Find the stretch between the right ribs. And then exhale, dive right elbow to the left knee. You might feel that the chest starts to crunch in. Squeeze elbow knee together, send your tailbone down, and then inhale, lift the chest. So you lengthen the spine. Exhale, squeeze elbow and knee together to rotate. Inhale, back away. Exhale, go a little bit deeper, and as you twist, pull your navel in and find more stability through the core. Breath in. Exhale, twist. I'll just turn towards the front. Uncross the legs. And you're going to start to find your boat pose. So you come back to your tailbone. Start to lift the legs. You can support your hamstrings and knees can be bent. Start to flex the feet. So you're going to start to pull your toes back towards your nose. Draw your inner thighs to center. Options, you can start to straighten the legs. Start to lift through the chest. Pull your navel down so you're creating this cool V shape, like an upside down mountain. Big breath in, lift through the heart. Exhale, come to low boat. Lower your shoulders, lower your heels so that they hover. Keep your fingertips rising. Inhale, rise back up, boat pose. Exhale, move into low boat. So you're really starting to find your core strength. Breath in to rise. Exhale, lower with control. Find as much length as you can so that that low belly starts to fire up. One more round. Inhale. Exhale, low boat will hold. So you're here in this low boat. So you're pressing down into your low back. You're lifting your shoulders. You're lifting your feet. Start to kick your feet like you're doing a freestyle swim, like we're Michael Phelps out here in front of the mountains today. Start to go a little faster. And then go a little slower. And then you're going to switch the direction of your flutter kick. So you start to go over the top, left and right, switching directions. Turn the corners of your lips up towards your eyes. It starts to make it a little bit easier. 3, 2, 1. Bring your knees into your chest. Wrap your forearms around your shin. So we build all of this fire, and then we bring it all back down. Rock a little side to side. Let the low back take its natural massage in the earth. Head can go side to side. Eyes are probably closed with the sun shining down on you. Big breath in, feel the chest rise, almost like it's rising up as much as it's pressing down. It's expanding bottom and top as well as left and right. And then as you exhale, squeeze the knees back into the chest, press the breath back out. 2 more clearing breaths. Inhale, feeling that rise, almost feel like you're pressing the knees away with your chest. And then press the breath back out by pulling the knees in. Inhale. Exhale. And then just take your hands behind your hamstrings and start to rock and roll. So you swing your feet over your head, and then you rock up to a seat, and then you rock forward and backwards, and you just feel super playful. And whenever you're ready, you can plant your feet, plant your hands. We'll just meet forward fold at the top of the mat. And then set your feet hips width distance. Grab elbow to elbow and ragdoll. Next few breaths just to bring some awareness to how the body starts to evolve from when we start in this pose to after we've added some breath to movement, some intention, some fire, some fluidity. Now right back into the fire. Bring your hands down to the earth. Bring your feet together to touch. Your hands are going to be as wide as they are as in when you're doing a plank pose or a downward facing dog. You're going to bend your knees, bend your elbows, stack your knees on your elbows, crow pose. So as we're coming into this first arm balance of the practice, we can all generally get into this low squat where we start to stack the knees on the elbows. And if the knees are directly on the elbows, you get this bone on bone connection, so it's even more stable. Now you can squeeze your right heel towards your glute. Maybe squeeze your left heel towards your glute. Maybe both your toes continue to stay on the earth and you just feel the weight rocking forward and you're pressing the back of the heart up to the sky. And then bring your feet down, forward fold. Awesome. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, take your right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Now you keep pressing evenly into both hands, bend your right knee and open your hip. Now come up to your right fingertips and inhale, lift the right knee just a little bit higher. So again, you're finding that big side body stretch. And then as you exhale, step your right foot outside of your right hand for a nice long lizard lunge. Now walk your hands as far forward as you can so you're in the longest lizard that you can be. So your shoulders start to line up with your hips, start to line up with your back heel. You squeeze the right knee in. And then all that fire we built in our belly with our boat pose, you want to keep that fire going by pulling the navel up and in. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Inhale. And then start to walk your hands back in line with your front foot. Drop your back knee down. Keep the hips moving down and forward. You start to find space across the top of the left leg, even up into the psoas. Your left hand becomes your base. And then take your right arm up to the sky. We twist. Start to retract the shoulder blades. Press the heart forward. Option to stay here. You can bend the left knee. Reach back with your right hand and catch the foot for a big quad stretch. So you're finding more of that space on top of the left leg. The more space we create across the front chain of the body, the more space we're going to have for heart openers and back bends. Just a few breaths. Release the foot if you have it. Bring your right hand down inside of your front foot and lift your back knee. Now press into your right foot, press into both hands. Once you've got all your weight going forward, you're going to step your left foot wider than your left hand, come into Malasana Yogi Squat. And you maybe want to try and take the feet a little bit wider. You rock the hips a little side to side. And start to find this adduction, this feeling of squeezing towards center by squeezing your knees in and then pressing back out with your elbows. Send your tailbone down, lift your chest. Big breath in. Exhale out. Now bring your hands towards the earth. You're going to lift your hips up so they're in line with your knees, and then reach your hands forward to come into goddess pose or high squat. So all of us that do hiking and biking or quads are probably already talking to us. Start to just pulse your hands open and close. Just helps you take your mind away from what your legs may be saying to you at the moment. Big breath in. Bring your hands to your heart. Come all the way to standing. Reach all the way up to the sky. Keep your legs wide. And exhale, forward fold with legs wide. And you can just start to heel your feet a little bit wider. Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. And just start to walk your hands back under your shoulders. Maybe your gaze starts to go back towards the mountains behind you. Maybe you take your hands and start to walk them up the back of your legs. Give yourself a little massage into your calves. And then walk the hands a little higher up into your hamstrings. You've been stretching them out, so you can just give them a little bit of extra love. And then take your hands all the way up to your low back and interlace. And just like when we were in those humble warriors, you reach those hands all the way up to the sky. Big shoulder stretch. So press into the outer edges of the feet. Spin the inner thighs back. Rock the shoulders side to side. Find a little bit more space between your shoulders and your ears. And then release your hands down. You're going to step your left foot back. So you come right back into that lizard lunge. Maybe you have to make a little adjustment with the right foot. Press down into your left hand, take your right arm up to the sky, twisting crescent lunge. Press back through your left heel. Press down into your left hand. Drop your left heel to the left and step your right foot back so you come into a Vashisthasana, a side plank. Now you can do this with feet staggered, or you can stack the feet. You always have the option of taking that left knee and bending it and dropping it to the earth. And so you're going to press into your base hand, press into your base foot, lift through the hips, and then take your right hand and start to reach it forward. So again, you find that big side body stretch, the more space that we can create between each of those ribs. And then bring your right hand down, come back to plank pose. One big breath in. Exhale, move through your flow, chaturanga to the earth. Bhujangasana, cobra pose, or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog brings you home. Inhale your left leg to the sky. Keep even weight in both hands, bend your left knee, open your hip. Come into your left fingertips. Big breath in, reach the right knee just a little bit higher. Then look forward, step outside of your left hand lizard lunge. Keep the back knee lifted. Walk your hands as far forward, maybe off the mat as you can, so that your shoulders, hips, heel are in line. Feel that left knee squeeze into center. Navel pull into the spine. Back knee lifted. You're finding length. You're staying in breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Walk your hands back in line with your front foot. Bring your back knee down to the earth. Right hand is going to be your base. Keep the hips sinking down and forward, and as you inhale, reach your left hand up to the sky. Twisting low crescent lunge. Now, option to stay here. You feel the shoulder blades this time, they're retracting around the spine. The heart is moving forward. Maybe you take that top hand, reach back, bend your right knee, catch the foot. As you inhale, you can kick the foot into the hand, find a little bit more depth in your back bend and that front body stretch. And as you exhale, maybe sink your hips a little further forward and squeeze the heel into the glute and find a bigger stretch in the quad. 2 more breaths. And if you have the foot release, bring both hands inside of your left foot. Lift your right foot or right knee. Press all the weight into all of your forward hands and feet. Step the right foot wide, low yogi squat, malasana. And just to add some more variations in here, you can just stay with your hands pressing together, knees pressing wide, or you can bring your left hand down inside of your left foot. And then draw your right arm up to the sky for a twist. Option to stay here. You can internally rotate the right shoulder, bend the right elbow, and reach for your left hip behind you for a half bind. Start to pull the shoulders back. Squeeze left tricep into the left knee. Big breath in. Unwind from wherever you are. And we're right back to center. Right hand down inside of the right foot. Squeeze knee and tricep together. Take your left hand up to the sky. Feel that squeeze into the elbow to the knee, knee back into the elbow, adduction. And maybe you take the half bind. And just start to spin the chest towards the left. Send the tailbone down. Think about lengthening the spine and then rotating through the thoracic spine, rib cage around the heart. Couple breaths. Unwind. Hands down in center. Lift your hips so that your hips are in line with your knees. Turn your toes wide, come into your goddess pose, your high squat. Big breath in. Exhale, sit a little lower. Big breath in. Sit a little lower. Inhale. Hands to the heart, straighten your legs. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Maybe taking the feet a little wider. Press into the outer edge of the feet. Spin the inner thighs back. If the hamstrings are tight, a little bend in the knees. Start to see how much you can let the head and the chest be heavy. Place your right hand down underneath your face. And then inhale like a bow, draw your left arm up to the sky. Use your exhale, just releasing that bow, left hand down to the right hand. And 2 more times. Press down into your right hand. Reach the left hand up to the sky. See if you find a little bit more rotation. Exhale down to the earth. Inhale, reach all the way up. Now you're feeling the stacking of shoulder over shoulder, wrist over wrist. Send your tailbone back behind you and then reach forward with the crown of your head. Inhale, create space across the chest. Exhale, find that rotation of ribs around spine. Inhale. Exhale, bring your left hand down. Now we'll switch sides. Left hand's directly under the face. Inhale like drawing a bow, reach the right arm up to the sky, stacking shoulder over shoulder. Even your gaze can follow up to your top fingertips. And then use your exhale to just gently bring it back down. Inhale to open and twist. Stability in the legs allows you to find movement through the upper body. Exhale, bring it down. Your stability allows you to find your mobility. Last time, inhale, reach up to the sky. Engage through the legs, hips back, head forward. Breath in to create space. Exhale to move into space. Inhale. Exhale, bring the right hand back down to the earth. So walk your left foot back in a little bit, and then step your right foot back so you come right back into your lizard lunge. Right hand is your base. Take your left arm up to the sky. Twist into the left. Keep pressing into that front hand. Press into your back foot. Drop to the outer edge of your right foot and step the left foot back. We come into our Vashisthasana side plank. Any variations that make sense in your practice, a knee down. Maybe that top foot lifts into a starfish. Maybe you bend your left knee and press that foot into the leg so you create tree in the legs. If you fall backwards, you maybe land into a wild thing. And then just come right back into your plank pose as you're ready. Big breath in, find your length. Reach back through the heels, reach forward through the crown of the head. Move through your flow. Chaturanga or to the earth. Cobra or up dog. And then use the belly to lift the hips high, downward facing dog. Come down to hands and knees, tabletop position. From your tabletop position, walk your hands back to your knees. So you come to standing on your knees and take your hands to your low back. Your fingertips start to go up the back body. The heel of the hand starts to send the tailbone down towards the earth. So you're starting to find as much length as you can in the low back. Squeeze your elbows to center and take a big breath in. Lift your heart as high as you can. As you exhale, pull your navel to your spine and start to rock back into back bend. Breath in to feel the chest lift up, the heart goes up. Exhale, the heart goes back. So to feel like you're squeezing your inner thighs to center. Inhale, feel the lift. Exhale, start to rock into your camel pose. Last breath. And as you exhale, just slowly come out of the back bend. Plant your hands. Lift your hips, downward facing dog. Make your way to the top of the mat. Step, hop, float, handstand, however you want to get there. You're going to bend your knees, drop your hips. Inhale, sweep your hands to the sky, chair pose, Utkatasana, fierce pose. Just like we're in those high goddess squats, the legs start talking to us. Bring your hands together to touch. Twist towards the right, left elbow, right knee. Parivrtta Utkatasana. Now you might notice that the left knee is trying to sneak forward. Start to draw that left knee back. So you're squaring the hips. You're pressing knee into the elbow so you can lift your left ribs up off of your right leg. Now look down at your feet. And you're going to add all of your weight into your right foot. Come up to your left tiptoes. Start to squeeze your left heel into the glute for balance. Flamingo pose. Start to press the elbow and the knee together. Step the left foot back. Land as quietly as you can. Twisting crescent lunge. Always an option to drop the back knee down in this pose. Keep squeezing elbow and knee together. Lifting up through the back knee. Big breath in. Exhale out. Now sweep your hands straight up to the sky, full crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. So we're sinking into the front knee. Your right knee stacks over your right ankle. You're finding that same movement like we did in Warrior One, where the left hip's going forward and the right hip's pulling back. So you're squaring the hips in line with the shoulders, in line with the front of your mat. Your left heel stacking on top of your left toes. And then imagine you can energetically start to draw the right hip into center, the left hip into center, so you actually start to feel a little bit more lift by engaging those hip flexors and glutes. Big breath in. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Press the hands together. And then hinge at your hips, so you come into a 45-degree angle. So your left heel, your left hip, your left shoulder on one clean line of energy. You're drawing your belly in. Your legs are talking to you and asking you, how much longer can you stay here? And you stay with your breath. You got this. Inhale, reach your hands forward so you create one long clean line of energy like an arrow. Spin the triceps down, reach the fingertips forward. And then like drawing a bow, pull your left fingertips back, open up Warrior Two towards the left. So this change in foot variation, we look down at our feet. Front heel is going to start to dissect the back arch. The more you can start to press down into this outer edge of the back foot, you're going to find more engagement up the outer left leg. Starts to take a little bit of weight out of that front right hip. Take your left hand down your back leg, reach your right arm up to the sky, reverse your warrior. Stretch the side body. Lots of side body stretching today. Exhale, bring your right elbow to your right knee. Reach your left fingertips overhead so your left bicep and your left ear start talking to one another. I think the ear probably hears better than the bicep. Squeeze the elbow and the knee together. Rotate your chest up to the sky. And there's always option here to take that top hand behind you for a half bind. So just like we did when we were in those twisting malasanas, you just find that right hip. And then if you want to go into full bind, you can work your right arm underneath the right hamstring, hands interlace at the hips. Start to try and lengthen that right side body. If you've got the bind, you can use your hands to press your hips forward and then energetically use your shoulder blades to pull the back body back. Now if you're in bind or half bind, release. Take your gaze over your front foot. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Walk your right fingertips forward. You're going to feel all the weight come all the way into the front foot. Lift your back leg, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So your heart and hips remain open to the side, so no change in the shape of the hips because they're in the exact same position as they were in Warrior Two. Maybe take a little bend in your standing leg. It might help you find a little bit more hamstring glute engagement. Now start to flex your left toes and then look down your front body. If you can't see your left toes, start to move them forward so that they start to come back into the front plane of the body. Bring it a little bit forward, Mitch. Maybe that left hand goes to the sky. If you feel like you've got the core strength and you can start to float your right fingertips up off the earth, maybe you find a little bit of balance. And then when you're ready, bring both hands down to the earth, standing splits. Now in standing splits, we went from having our hips open, we turn our hips square towards the earth. Take a little bend in the standing knee and see if you can lift the left leg a little bit higher. You can take your right hand to your right ankle and start to play with your balance and just have your left fingers on the ground like a spider or a teepee. If you feel like you've got all the balance you want to find there, you can bring your left hand to your right ankle as well, and both hands start to pull down into the standing leg. And then slowly bring that lifted leg into your chest, left knee into the chest will come up to standing, and left knee comes all the way up and in. Find your balance. Go ahead and wrap your hands around the left knee. See how high you can lift that left knee towards the left shoulder. Flex the toes. And then as you're finding balance, one point, hold your gaze. It can be down on the floor in front of you. It can be out towards the trees or the mountains in front of you. And then take your right hand up to the sky. So we've been working towards these back bends today. Release your left knee, start to kick it behind you and find the inside of the left foot. The knee might want to splay wide, start to draw the knees towards center. Start to kick the left foot into the hand, lift through the heart. So you're finding your Natarajasana dancer's pose. Maybe a little bend in the standing leg. You can start to slightly hinge at the hips. Keep the hips moving towards square, the shoulders pulling back. Be here for a few breaths. Whenever you're ready, just slowly come out the way you came in. Bring your hands to your heart. Shake out that standing ankle. Mountain pose. Big breath in, reach for the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in, bend your knees, drop your hips. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Hands come together to touch. You're finding a little bit of length in the spine, and then this time you're going to twist to the left, right elbow, left knee. Notice how the right knee and right hip might want to sink forward, start to pull them back. Start to lift the right ribs up off the left leg. Pull the navel in, and then look down towards your toes. Feel the weight into your left foot, come up to your right tiptoes. When I've got the balance, squeeze the right heel towards your glute, find your flamingo. Take a moment to breathe, and then just start to slowly step back with control. Right toes land, twisting crescent lunge. Again, the option, if you dropped your back knee on the other side, you can drop it on this side. Left side could be entirely different than right side. It's not right or wrong, it's just right and left. Take a moment and breathe. Inhale, reach for the sky, full crescent lunge. Square into the hips, square into the shoulders. Stacking of the back heel over the back toes. Send your tailbone down, engage your navel. Find that length that you want to find through stability in your core. That's why we do those boat poses. Breath in. Exhale, hands to the heart. Press the hands together. Hinge at your hips so you create this 45-degree line. This isn't fun, but it makes you stronger. Outer hips drawing to center. Inhale, reach the hands forward so you create that nice long arrow from the right heel, right hip, right shoulder through the fingertips. Send the triceps down, the biceps up. Spread the fingers wide. And then like drawing the bow, pull the right hand back, open up, warrior two. Opposite direction. Bend into your front knee. Left knee stacked over left ankle. Start to energetically draw the left knee back towards the mountains behind you. Press into the outside edge of the back foot. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Right hand down, left hand up, side body stretch. Lengthening space between the ribs. And then exhale, find your extended side angle. Left elbow, left knee. Right arm overhead so you find that bicep ear connection. And then any variation, left fingertips can come inside of the front foot. The top arm can reach behind you, internally rotating the shoulder and starting to find right hand to left hip. If the bind is in the practice, left arm underneath the left hamstring, hands interlace at the left hip. Start to feel the chest moving forward, the heart moving forward, and then shoulders moving back, retracting around the spine. If you have the bind or half bind, release. Right hand to right hip. Gaze over your front toes. Walk the left fingertips forward until you can lift the back leg, half moon. Now think about that lifted leg just as much as the standing leg. You want to feel like it's just as engaged, like you're standing on a wall behind you just as firmly as you're standing on the ground underneath of you. Maybe that right hand reaches to the sky. Maybe you float the left fingertips up by engaging the side core of your oblique muscles and you find that stability. And then bring both hands down to the earth, standing splits. Square into the hips, little bend in the standing knee to lift the right leg a little higher. Options to stay here or play with balance, left hand, left ankle. Right fingertips like a spider or a teepee. Both hands can be on the ankle if you want to play with full balance. Maybe if you start to notice you start to fall out of balance, you start to call on your flexibility or your strength to bring you back in. Or maybe you fall and you laugh and it's all good. Now slowly bring the right knee up into the chest. And go ahead and wrap your hands around that right knee, right shin, and lift it as high as you can. Big, deep hip flexion. You find that one point that holds your gaze. Keep holding the right knee with the right hand. Take your left hand to the sky. Feel the side body stretch. You're staying in your balance. You're staying with your breath. Release the right knee. Reach behind you. Grab for the inside edge of the right foot. Now find stability. Draw the knees back towards center. So you're finding everything in that nice stable line. Your adduction, you're drawing to center. And then start to kick the foot into the hand. You're finding that big stretch across the quad where we've seen that in several of the poses today. Start to lift through the chest. You're lengthening through the low back. Maybe a little hinge in the hips. Maybe a little bend in the standing leg. Your last few breaths, your peak pose. Lots of space in the shoulders, lots of space in the legs, lots of space in the heart. Slowly come out the way you came in. Bring both feet to the earth. Shake out your standing foot. And then we'll reach up to the sky one last time. Urdhva Hastasana. Feel the sun on your face. Exhale, fold it all the way down to the earth. Step back to your plank pose. Come down to hands and knees, tabletop position. And then just drop your hips to the left, swing your feet around to the front. Last few stretches. After all of the work of the practice, lay all the way down onto your back. And go ahead and cross your right knee over your left ankle, creating a figure 4 shape. Bring your knees into your chest. Reach your right hand through the shape, the left hand around the shape. You can grab for your hamstring, you can grab around your shin. Supine pigeon's pose. And then you can start to rock a little side to side and let your low back take a natural massage from the earth. If you want to go deeper, you can take your right knee and your right elbow, your right foot and your left elbow, and start to draw the shin in towards the chest. Going just a little bit deeper into hip flexion. A few breaths. You're going to release the grip of the leg. Bring the left foot down, but keep the figure 4 shape in the legs. Take your arms out wide like wings. Drop your knees to the right. And take your gaze to the left. Your right ankle can add a little bit of weight to that left knee. You root down through your left shoulder. Start to breathe into the side body. Inhales, creating space. Exhale, settling into space. And then just bring the knees back to center. Bring your right foot down to the earth. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Find your figure 4 shape. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Your left hand through the figure 4. Your right hand around the figure 4. Grabbing shin or hamstring. Draw the knees down towards the chest. Right knee towards right shoulder. Left elbow can press the left knee away. Find a little bit deeper stretch in the left hip. Maybe wrapping the left shin between the elbows. Maybe finding stillness. Maybe just feeling that gentle side-to-side movement. Releasing the grip of the leg, bring the right foot down, keep the figure 4 in the legs. Arms out wide like wings, this time knees drop to the left. Gaze goes over the right shoulder, out towards the right fingertips. Let the left ankle add a little weight to the right knee. Let your breath fill the right side of the body. As you exhale, let something go, feel a little heavier. Go ahead and bring knees back to center. Final posture of the practice, bring your knees into your chest, wrap your forearms around your shin, Apanasana. The feeling of downward moving energy. You can find stillness or you can move side to side. Head can rock side to side. Just start to feel your body take up space on your mat. When you're ready, extend your right leg forward and take it towards the right corner of the mat. Drop your right toes to the right. Extend your left leg towards the front left corner of the mat. Drop your left toes to the left. Your hands come down by your side. Turn your palms up to the sky. A slight tuck of the chin so you feel the back of the neck grow long. Let your eyes be heavy or closed. One more full breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then just let the breath become soft and natural. All the effort you applied to the practice, you allow to surrender into the ease of the practice. Our final and most important pose, shavasana.